Welcome back, everybody. Monday morning briefing, episode number 71. It's June the 6th. We're back here in the shop. It is Monday. We are going to have this one come out on Monday, so that's a good thing. Real quick, we had a few things come in the mail over the last couple weeks, and I wanted to kind of talk about them right quick. We really appreciate that. These guys, I'm not going to mention their name just because I don't have their permission, really, but I've got one fella sent me this cool little knife here. I love knives. I've got lots of knives, both for hunting or just pocket knives, or of course knives in the shop. But he sent me this little sheath that he made for it, and it's a little deer handle or deer antler handle knife with stacked leather on there. It's really neat. Just kind of like a little bitty scratcher, I guess. I don't know. It's just a little knife. I really like it. And so we're gonna put that. We've got a little spot that we started creating for little things people send us. I'm assuming this fella makes these. Really cool. I'm really excited to have it. It's a good piece to add to the collection. And so thank you for that. And we also had a fellow that I visited with quite a bit on the phone, just here and there with some him needing some stuff from us, ordering over the phone, that kind of thing. We just kind of got to visit and talking about fishing and things like that. And he does a lot of fly fishing, and so he sent me a bunch of flies, a bunch of lures. He ties lures and things, and he sent me this little box, and it is full of really neat little fly fishing lures and things. I'm really interested in fly fishing. I haven't ever done a lot of it. I did practice some and kind of played around with it, and on a place that I had years ago that had a tank on it, and we had a bunch of crappie and little bluegills and stuff in it, and I did play around with the fly fishing and that. Had a lot of fun with it. So I'm excited to get this. He sent me these just to play around with. I'm gonna take my son out and get us a little fly rod, and there's a tank over here at the park with some bass in it and things like that, and we're gonna play around with that and just kind of see. Like I said, I don't know a whole lot about tying flies, but it looks like a lot of fun. He made all of these, and so I'm all about making things. So I may pick that up at some point, like I need something else to do. But thank you very much. Really appreciate that. Just two little things that came in the mail that I thought were pretty neat, and I wanted to show you guys. I try to, if I can, get all those in. Sometimes we get things and, we put them in our little keepsake area, and that kind of deal, and I save all the letters and that kind of stuff. But I really appreciate it. Anytime something's sent like that, like a little gift, we consider it a shop gift, so it stays in the shop, and that way it's on display. Somebody who wants to come in and they can kind of check that out. Couple things. Last week we did have the kidney bean purse video launch, and Huey's tripping out over here. I don't know what his problem is. But we did have the kidney bean purse video go ahead and post, and we have the pattern pack available on the website. We've had a few people that have kind of goofed and bought the digital version, not realizing how big it was, because like I said, this pattern is a 4 foot by 3 foot sheet of paper. So unless you're good on using Adobe or something, and you can figure out how to print that out on your own printer on 8.5 by 11 sheets and then paste all those together, I don't know how to tell you to do that. I did have one guy that emailed me. Huey, chill out, bro. I did have one guy that emailed me, and he had kind of giving me the rundown on how to do it. I still don't quite understand. I'm gonna have to try it myself and see how it works. And if I get around to doing that, then maybe I can kind of relay that to you. But if you're in the United States and you want a copy of this pattern, I suggest buying the printed one. We'll mail it out to you. It comes just like this in an envelope. Your pattern's in here. You can fold it out, make your patterns off of that, put it back in here, file it away. You've got it forever. If you are outside the United States, we don't ship outside the United States. So if you want to just get the digital version, that's fine. But the easiest way is going to be to take it to a company that can do large format printing, like a Kinko's or something like that. Just a copy place where you can take that file in there, and they can print it out for you, and then you'll have it. But like I said, we've had a few people that bought it on the website that are here in the United States, but they didn't realize that there was a printed version, or they just picked the wrong one. If you did do that, and you're having trouble getting it printed out, and it's just too cumbersome, and you want the printed copy, shoot me an email, call the shop, and we can get you taken care of. Just pay the difference, and there's a difference in printing costs between the printed version and the downloaded version. So we just charge you that and whatever the postage is on it, and we can go ahead and send you this and go from there. As far as a new pattern, I told y'all that we're working on the dies are coming for the kidney bean purse. So we went ahead and got the guitar strap dies made at the same time. So those all should be coming, I would guess this week. They told me a couple, 2-3 weeks. They're out right now on making dies. No hurry whenever we get them, but we should have them, I would think, the end of this week, maybe the beginning of next week. But it will include the guitar strap die as well, which that video, we haven't shot that video yet. I'm gonna go ahead and wait until the die gets here, and we'll use the die in the video so you can kind of see that. Obviously, you'll probably be cutting yours out by hand unless you buy a material pack with a guitar strap, and we will be selling material packs for that as well as for the kidney bean purse. So as soon as those dies get here, we'll let everybody know. But we've got the pattern pack completely done for the guitar strap, and I'll give you a little glimpse of it right there. And so it is done. It is going to be the exact same size as the kidney bean purse. It's a 3 foot by 4 foot sheet of paper. It's got all your cut pieces, which is 2, the down strap and the main piece, and then 5 different tooling patterns in there. And I think it's going to be a really neat pattern. I'm going to go ahead and send this file off this morning so they can get started making the pattern packs for that. When they get here, we will probably just go ahead and put those on the website and notify everybody through the newsletter. And then that way, if you want to go ahead and get your copy of the guitar strap pattern before the video comes out, that's fine. I'm going to use the pattern pack and the dies in the video, like I said, so we'll have everything ready when the video goes. But if you want it early, we'll put it on the website once the patterns get here, and then you can go ahead and grab yours, and that way you'll have it when the video comes out. I'm hoping, like I said, as soon as the die gets here, give me about a week, and we should be able to get the video done on the guitar strap. They're not that hard. They're basically like the gunsling or a belt or anything else. There's just a little bit of a difference there. And as far as gunslings, I've been making a bunch for the sales floor. You may have seen that on our Instagram. We've been working on those, and I've been working on some wallets and getting those tooled and antiqued. These will get antiqued this morning, and we'll start putting those together. We're just trying to make up a little bit of inventory as we go so we can put some out on the retail floor. Kind of just in preparation to just keeping stuff on the website. We're getting more and more of our leather good customers coming in to shop for things like gunslings, belts, pre-made wallets, things like that. And so that's kind of cool. And so we're just trying to get a little bit of inventory made and possibly start getting ready for Christmas. We're not talking about Christmas yet, but come about August or September, we'll really be talking about Christmas and getting ready for that and kind of getting everybody ready to go. I know it's too early, it's still hot and everything else, but it is something that we need to kind of keep on our mind further out there in the future. As far as material packs from the Cut Bench page, we've been trying to keep that updated. I've pulled some stuff off. We've added a few things. We've been adding a bunch of the blemish grade packs of different things. Remember those, when they're blemish grade, they are going to have some marks in them. So some scars, some, maybe some wrinkles, some things that are maybe a little bit more obvious to see that you may or may not see when you tool. But a lot of them, if you're going to tool them basket stamp or floral, you won't see that in there. So we've got knife sheath blemish packs, some money clip wallet blemish packs, and we may end up with some more bifold backs. I know we had a couple of those packs that we sold earlier this year that were just like a 10 pack of bifold backs. And then those are great because if you don't, a lot of people buy our material pack for our bifold wallet and our pattern that's in there, the way that our T-pockets are cut. But if you do yours different, and if the back is close to the same size, you can put whatever interiors you want to in there. So maybe offering some of those as I get to cutting. I've got another shipment of leather or two coming pretty quick, getting ready for Waco. And so we're going to go ahead and get started cutting up what I've got back there. We've been trying to work through that and work through that scrap. I've still got some leather to cut some more belt material packs. We cut some last week. I'll cut some more this week. I'm just trying to be sure I got my projects covered, as well as trying to split what I've got through the rifle sling material packs as well as the belt material packs, so they use the same leather. And so we're just trying to kind of balance that. But we added the 9-10 ounce belt material packs last week or last weekend, and they've sold out, I believe, but they've sold really well. But those, you can use those single ply, or you can line them and make a little heavier rifle sling if you'd like to. But I think single ply, they would make a real nice, just simple rifle sling that would lay down nice in a case and stuff. But we've got them both. We've got the ones that I thin down that you need to line, and then we've got these that you can or cannot line, whatever you want to do. One neat thing I'm going to add to the Cut Bench page, and y'all see them first here. They'll be on there sometime today. I cut out a few. We'll just see how they sell. I think they're going to be kind of cool. I'm going to make one for the sales floor as well. But I cut out our wristlet purse just out of 3/4 ounce veg tan leather, Herman Oak, and the yokes as well, because I want to try to make one of these possibly with a welt in there like we did on the kidney bean purse, or just sewn face to face, or right side out like that. And then you could add fringe to that real easy or whatever. But I think it would make a neat bag to go ahead and do some more floral, like do a fully tooled one. The pattern pack does have a fully tooled pattern or two in there if you wanted to tool the body, but we've never offered a material pack out of veg tan for you to do that. And I think this 3/4, it's a little bit heavier than 3/4, or a little on the higher 4 side, so I think it's got good body to it. And I think if you were to skive your edges, put a welt in there, it would turn relatively easily. You'll have to get it wet to turn it inside out. So that's why I would say if you're going to tool it, you might want to just do it right side out and just sew it and then slick and burnish your edges. But we'll put a few of those on there. I don't remember how many I cut yesterday. I was in here yesterday, so I'm just cutting and sorting and kind of cleaning the shop, and I think I cut maybe 6 of these out. I may try to get up to a dozen and then throw them on the website if y'all are interested in some of those. And it'll come with a zipper piece too. It'll be a full wristlet purse material pack. But as far as what else has been going on in the shop, we're just getting some saddle started. I started cutting saddle parts yesterday to try to get these going. We'll get horns on them, ground seats in them. I'll try to post some reels of some of those parts just so you can kind of see what's going on there, and working on those and just trying to work through my list. I've got a clipboard over here of a bunch of Father's Day gifts we got to cut out and things like that. So between cutting for y'all and cutting for what we've got, the cut room's going to be pretty busy this week, just trying to get everything cut up and sorted out, and then we get everything that we need, and then get y'all some more stuff on the website. I just want to thank y'all for the response to the material packs. We've been having a lot of fun with it. It gives me a really good outlet for the extra leather that I have, even though we're buying mainly for the website for the material packs, but it really makes it nice to be able to cut out a lot of different things, and then I've got material when I need it. As long I just got to be sure it's not sold out, on the website or whatever. But if I need to make a gunsling, it's there. If y'all want to make one, they're there. Like, it's kind of helping all of us out. Believe it or not, it helps me a lot in the shop, because if I need to make a knife sheath for somebody real quick, there's piles of pancake and fold over knife sheaths over there Claudia keeps in stock, so that makes it really nice. One little project that I'm going to start working on, and I'll try to do some video of it, or see, I'm not a mechanic, and I've mentioned that many times, especially in our sewing machine 3-part series that we did on the Cobra Class 4. I'm not much of a mechanic. I can tinker, and I can usually get stuff kind of ironed out to where it'll work, but I have an old Fortuna bell skiver that a friend of mine gave me, and it was in a building fire. It was not in the fire portion of the building, but it did get a lot of water on it because of they had to, fire department trying to put the fire out in that manufacturing plant. But the machine itself is fine. It was he coated it in oil and stuff after the deal was done and all that to keep everything moving. Everything moves, everything's there. I just need to clean it up and get everything cleaned up and all that kind of stuff. And the motor, I'm going to put I got a servo motor from a fellow leather crafter that had one available for sale, and so I've got it coming, and I'm going to put it on there and attempt to get it running. I'm usually lazy. If I can financially swing it, I would rather buy something new that I can plug in and then use, because I don't want to have to fiddle with stuff. But I thought this might be a fun little project just to see if I can get it going, because the guy I got it from, he said it was working the day of the fire. Like, it works fine. There's nothing wrong with it. It just needs to be cleaned up, gone through, and then tuned up a little bit, and it should work just fine. So we're going to give that a shot. Maybe kind of interesting, maybe not. I don't know. Some of you guys out there probably love working on old machines. I know Ben Geisler, he's done some on there where he's rebuilt the sewing machine and this and that. So we're going to give this one a shot and see how I can do. If it doesn't work, I may just sell it, or I don't know what I'll do with it, but I need to do something with it because it's taking up space, and the back end of our shop is slowly filling completely, and I've got a couple other machines that I want to get here in the near future, so I need to make room for stuff. So if something doesn't work, I need to get it moved out. That's just the long and the short of that. So we'll be playing with that some, and going from there. Machines, there's a lot of people, you get started in leather work and everything's hand tools, everything's, an all 2 needles, skiving knife, everything's done by hand, cutting everything out with a round knife or a trim knife. And that's traditional. That's the way it should be, or that's the way it was forever and ever. But leather machinery in particular has been around for a long, long time. And so a lot of these machines are from, a lot of the older machines are from the 30s, 40s, many of them from even before that. And so I think they're still useful. I think they're very useful. I think I don't think they take away from a shop. Some people say, oh, if you sew it on a machine, it's not handmade. It's your opinion. My deal is I tell everybody, when you start leather work, be sure you learn to hand sew. Hand sew as much as possible with an awl and 2 needles. If you want to use pricking irons, that's fine, but you need to know how to sew with an awl and 2 needles, traditional hand stitching, and even try some linen thread if you can. I have, and I wasn't a huge fan of it, but it takes a lot of practice and a little bit more finesse and things to do that. But just get that mechanics down where you're sewing with an awl and 2 needles. Then if you want to use pricking irons, that's fine too. And then once you master that, you can hand sew and you can throw a beautiful hand sewn stitch, because they do look better. Once you get to that point, then get a sewing machine as fast as you can, because it's hard to justify hand sewing an entire set of skirts on a saddle, hand sewing everything on there, hand sewing a belt. It's just really hard to justify the time versus the benefit, in my opinion. And so for me, machines are a very, very useful tool, and they have a place in every shop, traditional or contemporary. But that's just my opinion. That may, start a big debate in the comment section. That may start a debate amongst people, because there are some people that believe that hand stitching is the only way to go, and that's fine. And I would love to be able to say I can hand stitch every single piece that I make. We've got to turn out work. We've got to stay on deadline, stuff like that. And it takes so much time to hand stitch every single item that you make that I think a sewing machine is something that you need to incorporate in your work. There's some pieces that deserve hand stitching only, just for what they are. And so I think that's really good. And then like on saddles, there's a lot of it you can't sew with the machine. Your cantle binders, your horns, if you're sewing your riggings to your skirt, all that stuff really needs to be done by hand, and we take the time to do that. But just like the skiver, like that bell skiver, I skive everything down by hand. If I've got to create a taper for a fold over or something like that, I do it by hand. I've always done it by hand, but that machine's sitting there, it can cut out a lot of time for me and do actually probably a better, cleaner job than what I can do by hand, and in about 1/10 of the time. And so that tool is going to be very, very useful in the shop. Same with a clicker. There's a lot of people, I didn't have a clicker in my shop for the first 16 years I was in business. I had access to one, but we very rarely used one. I had one for a die for knife sheaths and a few other little bitty things, and that was it. And I hand cut all of my saddles, but I think the clicker press has really helped on the level that we're running the business, but it's not something that a small shop necessarily needs. If you have the opportunity to get one, it can really save you a lot of time, even one of the mechanical ones. But I think that's just machinery helping the craft. It's like if you're building a custom build out on your home or renovation or something, you're going to use a skill saw, table saw. Those things are contemporary tools. You can do everything with a hand saw if you like, but most people won't. And so that's just kind of, tools help to promote the craft, to push the craft a lot further along, and to allow everything to be a little bit more refined. But there are a lot of the traditional aspects and traditional tools that still have a place as well. And I like using all of them. It just depends on what we're working on what we're doing. If we're creating an heirloom piece, like a wallet that's is this going to be an heirloom? This thing, the price is no object with a customer. They want it just completely, you've seen these guys do it out of these high quality, high end, exotic leathers, whatever. Take the time to hand sew that. If that's what the customer's after, or that's the value that you want to add to that, that's fantastic. But if I'm trying to make a dozen wallets for the sales floor to put on the website, and most people are mainly looking for the artwork portion of that or the tooling, then I'm not going to spend that amount of time hand sewing that or cutting all those pockets out by hand. I'm going to use a clicker die to cut those pieces out for me so that we have them. So it's just one of those deals. It's kind of like I said, a touchy subject. Some people, they want every single thing, and woodworkers are the same way. If you watch a lot of different woodworking channels, I watch a few of them. Some of them guys, man, they do amazing work with all hand tools, and it's amazing. But if they build a chair That may be a $4,000 or $5,000 chair. It's not a $500 chair. And so that time has to be paid for somewhere. So that's the only deal that you've got to keep in mind, as we've mentioned before on pricing. These tools and different things and equipment that we bring into our shops help us to cut down the time so that we can, get the project done quicker, easier, more efficiently, whatever it is. But you've still got to take care of your time. So if you're doing it all by hand, that's even more of a reason to really be sure that you have your pricing strategy really dialed in, because you're going to spend 2-3 hours sewing one of these at least, by hand. So versus sewing it on a machine, you've got to be sure that you've got that time in there, because if I'm charging, $250, $300 for one of these, and you're hand sewing it and you're getting $150, there's no way you're making money. Because if you're hand sewing it, you've got a lot more time in it than I do. And so you've got to be sure that your pricing strategy is right, because time is time. Doesn't matter if you're sewing on a machine, sewing by hand, time is time. So anyway, be sure you're doing that. But I'm excited to work on the bell skiver. I'm excited to see what we can do with it, if it'll work or if it won't. Like I said, if it don't, we'll just get rid of it. I've got a few other machines that are that way that I just need to get rid of, and kind of just send them on down the road because they're just taking up space. But if I can get it to work, I'll get it to work. If I can't, I'll call Cobra and I'll buy one from them, and we'll go from there. I don't know that I need a bell skiver per se, but I've seen one used on Instagram so much, or seen them used on Instagram. I've seen one used at Aaron's studio there. He uses his all the time at Maker's Leather Supply. I've never been around one a bunch, but the things I've seen people do with them, I think they're really handy. I think it's something that we might want to incorporate in here, especially with the bags, because like on the kidney bean purse, I skived all the way around there by hand, and that bell skiver would really help to do that. But anyway, we'll give it a shot and we'll see what we can come up with. Last week on Lost Trade, we did have an episode come out, and it was with Sarah Garvey with Western Skies Handmade. She makes handbags, ladies' handbags, the round ones. You've probably seen her on Instagram. She does an amazing job promoting on Instagram, and she's just got a really neat feed there with her reels and everything else. She does a really nice job, but her purses are really unique. If you really look at the floral tooling, she incorporates some geometric stuff. She incorporates just a lot of different designs that just kind of merge, to me, a bunch of different artworks together, and it's just got a really cool look about it. And I don't know, I just like it. From the design of the purse, she's got some little oval ones, some big ones, a bunch of different styles. Her bags are really neat. The interview was good, and it was just a really good episode. Had a lot of good feedback because she's got a really good size following on Instagram, so a lot of people were tagging us in there and letting us know they had listened to it, and a few other people may have heard of Lost Trade that hadn't heard of it before, just because they've been following her. So that was really cool. And I think in the same week she ended up having an article come out in like the Shop Talk or one of those other trade magazines, and so that was kind of cool. So congrats to her for having kind of a big week there with promotion. She had the podcast interview and an article, so that's really cool. I think Shop Talk's been doing a bunch of articles here lately on a bunch of craftsmen, and it's really cool to see, because there's a lot of new people coming up in the industry that I may or may not have known from Instagram or something like that. And so it's really good to see some new faces and some folks that have been around for a while. They're still out there doing it and really creating cool pieces and still growing and doing all that. So I think that's good for the industry. If you're new into leatherwork, you've got a lot of information out there, a lot of opportunities, a lot of resources, and a lot of great craftsmen to follow and just kind of be inspired by, because it's definitely a lot different than it was whenever I started. When I started, there wasn't social media, obviously, and so we pretty much, if you went to a show, that's when you saw everybody. Outside of that, it was in any of the trade magazines when they did an article on somebody, and that was about it. We didn't have podcasts, we didn't have YouTube, we didn't have social media, none of that stuff. So the way I used to do it was just travel around. If I saw a shop, I'd stop in and visit, and just to kind of get to know who's out there and who's around, that kind of deal. But it's a good time to be into leatherwork, good time to get into it. If you just now starting or you're thinking about starting, it's a great time, because there's a lot of stuff out there available. But guys, that's really all I got for you this week. I appreciate you guys watching. If you haven't already, be sure to go to dgsaddlery.com and sign up for the Leathercraft newsletter, and that way you'll be the first to know when new products come out, new things, new postings, things like that. And we'll see y'all next week in the Monday morning briefing.